Hi again, this is Ma'am Jane, your English teacher, and in this video lesson, I will be explaining to you English Quarter 4 Module Number 3 entitled Determining the Worth of Ideas in Listening Text. So let us first have the objectives in this module. So they are found in what I need to know. So at the end of this module, you are expected to first enumerate the process involved in listening. So later we will be discussing the process that is involved in listening and demonstrate skills on listening comprehension. Plus the last one, determine the purpose of text. So we will be discussing all of them later. So now let us go directly to the discussion part. So the discussion is found in what is it part. Okay, so we have here the meaning of listening. So remember class that listening is one of the four macro skills. So we have listening, writing, reading, and speaking. So listening is important because it is a skill of understanding the things being heard. So remember class that listening is different from hearing because in hearing you just hear the sound, but in listening you need to understand the sound or the things you hear. Okay, so it involves the ability to retain the words or sounds heard in the working memory, attach meaning to the words and sounds, and interpret the message being conveyed. So you will listen attentively for you to get the message from the thing or from the sound that you hear. So we have here four kinds of listening. First, we have active listening. So active listening, this is a kind of listening that primarily aims to understand and learn new information. Just like this one, when you watch this video and listen to the explanation, that is active listening already because you listen for you to understand and learn new information. Okay, so for example, during the face-to-face classes before, so your teacher is discussing or you're having class discussions and you listen. So that is active listening. Okay, or for example, you are having interview and you listen to the answer of the interviewee. So that is also an example of active listening. Next, we have critical listening. So, critical listening is the kind of listening involved a deeper understanding of the verbal stimulus that aims to interpret, examine, and analyze the speaker's message. So, when we say active listening, so it is a listening in where you will evaluate the content of the message that you hear. So, as a critical listener, you are listening to all parts of the message and you will analyze it, you will examine it, and you will interpret it based on what you heard. So, your goal as a critical listener is to evaluate the message that is being sent and decide for yourself is if the information is valid or if you will believe to the information. Just like this one, someone apologizes to you and you will listen to her explanation. And then at the end, you will analyze the information that you heard from her and you will think if you will believe or not, just like that. So that is critical listening with interpretation, examination, and analysis. Empathic listening, on the other hand, is the kind of listening that aims to understand the meaning behind the spoken message, or you will decode the meaning and by relating to the person's feelings and emotions. So this type of listening is very useful in intimate conversation among family, friends, and partners. So for example, your friend has a problem. So You will listen to his problem and advise something. So that is empathic listening. Okay. Next, we have appreciative listening. So this kind of listening aims to enjoy, appreciate, and acknowledge a speaker on his or her message. So this is also a form of listening for enjoyment, just like when you listen to music for relaxation and entertainment. So it is self-explanatory. So for example, we listen to a song and we appreciate that, we enjoy that. We enjoy the message of the song. We appreciate the talent of the singer. So that is appreciative listening. So now let us go on to listening as an active process. So we have here listening, which involves five distinct phases. So we have five phases of listening. First, we have reception. So when we say reception, it is the process by which the ears receive the verbal stimulus by means of sound waves. This is use of this is the use of our sense of hearing. So when we say reception, just the receiving of the sound. Okay? The next space we have here attention. So self-explanatory again. So the first one is reception. You will just hear the sound, and this one you will pay attention to the sound that you hear because you will focus on the message. Next, we have here the perception. Perception is the conversion of sound waves into brain impulses. This is where the brain is made aware of the sound of the word that was heard. So we will be now deciphering, or our brain will work in this particular pace because you will learn that the sound that you hear is made of words, sentences, and so on. Next, we have here assignment of meaning. Happens when immediately after perception, or happens immediately after perception. This is when the brain interprets the meaning of the verbal stimulus. So, uh, perception, we will think of the sound as words, and then in this one, those words will be interpreted into their corresponding meaning. And the last one, you will response. So response is the final phase because you will respond to the message that you hear. So it's either you will believe to the message, or you will not believe to the message, or you will respond in a positive way, or if you will respond in a negative way. So that is response. So again, reception, attention, perception, assignment of meaning, and response. Okay, so we have here this diagram. So reception, it all starts when we hear a sound. Attention, our mind will focus on the sound that we hear. Perception, the sound will then be transmitted into our brain. Assignment of meaning, the brain will decode the message and will be stored. And the last one, your response, we will respond with the message. So that is the phases in listening. So remember class that listening is different from hearing. Hearing only involves the mechanical process of how the sounds are transmitted through the auditory pathway. But listening involves memory retention and response. So it uses our brain. Okay, so I will be sending this particular activity to you because all you need to do here is to answer this question. So all you need to do is to read the passage or read the selection, and then you will be answering this one as a practice. Okay, so there is a guide here. So let us now have these techniques in developing listening comprehension skills. First, you will predict the content. So that's the reason why sometimes before discussion, diba, your teacher will post the title of the story, and then she will ask you to predict what the story is all about. So that is predict content. So you will just guess what the selection is all about based on the title. Next, listen for the main idea. So we already discussed main idea. So when we say main idea, the most important sentence usually contains the main idea or the important topic in a particular selection. So listen for that, for you to find out what the selection is all about. Next, number 3, detect transitional words and phrases. Just like mga moreover, first, second, third. So they are all transitional words and phrases. So what is the purpose of that? Because these transitional words or phrases will guide you on what part is being listened to. So is it in the beginning part or in the middle or at the end? Next, listen for details. So, you need to listen for the important details. So, if the detail is not that important, so maybe do not focus on that. Listen to the important one. And number 5, infer meaning. So, when we say infer meaning, this is using other clues and prior knowledge about the situation to work out the meaning of what we hear. So, if the message is associated with visual clues, you may consider the facial expression. So, in inferring meaning, for example, you are talking to your friend and she will say she is okay, she is happy, but the facial expression is not that okay. So, you will infer, you will give meaning to that. So, that is infer meaning. And we have here the last box. Listening is an effective tool in understanding various forms of verbal messages and even nonverbal messages. It supplements the reading and speaking skills of an individual. Enhancing an individual's listening skills will also develop the ability to understand the meaning that verbal messages convey. So that's the reason why we have this topic, because listening is really important. So during the face-to-face classes, when your teacher is giving direction, sometimes you will not listen attentively. That's why most of the time you're asking your teacher what you are going to do in the activity. So that is the importance of listening. So will that will help you to be able to do your task correctly and for you to respond correctly. Okay, so we have now here the what's more part. Of course, the activities under this, we have independent activities 1 and 2, including 3, plus independent assessments 1, 2, 3. So in this particular independent activity number 1, all you need to do is to identify the concept being described in each item. So I will be sending the copy of what is it part, the one that I discussed a while ago in your GC, for you to have an idea about this. But if you listen to the discussion in this video lesson, you can easily answer this one. Just identify what is being described. Next, we have here independent assessment number 1. So choose the type of listening. We have here the scenario, and all you need to do is to identify if that is active listening, critical, empathic, and appreciative. Next, we have here independent activity number 2. Ask someone from the household to dictate the following instructions. Listen carefully, then draw the instructed shape or image. So, you will ask maybe your father or your mother to read this one, and while listening to them, you will draw what you hear in this particular box. Okay? Next, assessment, independent assessment number 2, sort and categorize the following items. Match the 5 distinct phrases in column B to its description in column C, and then to its order in column A. Okay, so we have here the phrases, and then first you will identify the meaning. So just matched, and then which comes first? Is it perception comes first? Is it attention comes first? Or is it response comes first? So you will categorize them. I'll arrange them in proper order. Next, we have here independent activity number 3. So, ask someone again in your family to read the paragraph aloud and listen to this carefully and just answer this one. All you need to do is to arrange the jumbled letters for you to find out the correct answer. And last one, independent assessment number 3. So there are 5 paragraphs in this activity. After each paragraph, 3 topics are listed. So pick out the letter of the topic that tells best what the paragraph is about. So all you need to do is to choose the correct answer. Okay? Choose the correct answer. Letters only. So again, if you have questions, just ask me in our GC, or you can ask me privately. So I hope everything is clear. Goodbye, everyone.